Hello, Wethersfield parents and families and students. There's a Mr. Emmett and there's a Board of Education meeting in Wethersfield. I put a link to it in this video. He's one of the ones further recorded involved with police chiefs from Wethersfield involved with wire crime methods where they fabricate transcripts and fake conversations with people with medical families since they're kids. And they're attaching everyone and fake ties next to them. They've been using roles with uses of corners of buildings and of streets. Under guises of equity, they have some KKK themed, Confederate flag themed roles. Also, with conscious uses of a Leahy family, for example, there are medical families with Hartford Hospital, ones with the name Apted, I don't know, and they try to make fake exceptions. People with and Leahy, they're involved with these people involved with fake conversations with the FBI. FBI also are these are jobs. See, these jobs are corrupted though. They have the extended family members of judges and prosecutors involved with the school board meetings and the locations uses. People, Wethersfield town offices, the Central Connecticut State University has roles with names also on off it with the FBI with overt criminal enterprises, private ones, and child defenders, leaders of the kids. Further, with the one from Wethersfield, WTNH, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed. They have roles of predicate acts with facts with names along Ridge Road through time, involved also at other corners of buildings and streets, and involved with their kids and where they have words like adults and kids, and they're making the difference between that, and where they're speaking about emotions. They are being used by people from off campuses originally and still. People from Texas were are involved with people with the Leahy family and with the name Harris. Also involved with drugs and medicines, crimes with kids, identity theft, fraud, slanders, and acting passions for others to get to pretend to perceive things and then bring it before courts that have to hide the same things tied to it. Remote uses of Quinnipiac University and of UConn, where and how sickly distinctly they have the forced to entertain the logic of the individuals as leaders, Republicans or Democrats, per how the individuals can only defend the order of the finite. And at locations, areas, and states, we have styles of individuals speaking for America of using convictions and quality aspects and fact nature itself as criminal insidiousness that can't defend itself, and as tactical delusions that can't defend itself and afford defenses of ourselves at the same time. They have criminally foreign influence uses of words slash values like research involved with this, and where how they have they're trying to get us to call them names, and it's rightful, but they're preventing us the rightful names that we have to call to speak honest about what Mr. Emmett is involved with. Former director of the FBI Robert Luskin, ones with the FBI named Ian, all kinds of adjacents to their families and conjunctions to it, and the difference of that consciously used too. Increasingly, Wethersfield mayors, ones with the name former Mayor Gold and tied to his family increasingly involved with whiting forensics, and state police is in families intercities with the same family with the name Cololo, involved further with the Bob Chase's confessions, involving his roles also with the name Christine. He didn't give the rest of the names because there's more than one Christines involved with planting evidences and as collusions with overt criminal enterprises and private ones since they were kids. Also attached to fake ties, fake natures of ties, and they make with people completely. There's a Joshua Julian who is one of the ones on Facebook involved with Confederate flag themed, KKK themed. It has something to do with the military and their roles with unmarked police forms, foreign and domestic. The Kuwaiti military is also involved with this, and of Dean Keyes and her family members, and the differences between adjacents and conjunctions. Again, that's with Guilford and Tunxus Community College. A whole bunch of people tied to a Jonathan Mayano and family members of his recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed by others about them, and by John Mayano about them. That's his brothers involved, and their roles with boxing gyms, conversations, use of my name, where the judges and prosecutors have been using the locations, criminally foreign influence, uses of words too, tactically delusions raw, like equity, in other words, and inclusiveness. These are people that are involved with predicate acts with facts and communications tied to that. Criminally foreign influence uses of corners of buildings and of streets, identity thefts, fraud, slanders, and they're going to speak about equity because people are going for jobs. We have to bring the off campuses roles with this, and it's not legitimate. It's a whole bunch of people at Vermont involved in Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. The University of Maine has roles. Please, Governor Malloy, please follow mandated law for the rest of the people I caught being forced with the principal child abuser. And they recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed it's involved with their roles further with them intercity. Sandy Hook has more child abusers roles than, and these are people with medical tied to his doctors. And to Hartford Hospital has a whole bunch of people with the name Mark Violet, and involved with the Ray Collo and people with the name Oliveri, also with shipping locations in the foreign and domestic military, drugs and medicines, crimes and doctors that have roles with their judges with them too, personally, criminally foreign influence with their extended family members. The differences between the branches, not because they're extended between them. And there are times roles with overt criminal enterprises and other natures of organized crime, and private ones originally and still. It is so discernible once you get them onto paper from the name switching and sport and sequence shifting. These are also people with WFSB attached me to fake conversations with them about the World Trade Center attack, and with me conversations with other people about that. WFSB also lies about the outcome of cases because they had collusions through time. Also with where and how these are also connections between people as roles, as voicings into also fake for everyone. They're changing and faking people's words. And they're exploiting where and how they explain to little kids how they communicate other than they say. They're pretending they're trying to get to test the kids of how they deal with stress, etc. They're making people either be in criminal insidiousness natures of forms of aggression, fake integrity, fake substance, and or criminal insidiousness natures of calmness. So we have some KKK themed, black themed roles with drugs and medicines crimes. Also the Eastern States Narcotics Drugs Task Force and their roles with doctors, including ones with badges, criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions, rot black pupils. Peer. I'll show you how to deal with the child offenders. So get the Emmett onto paper, one name in sequence, and fix the fake transcripts they've been putting. You see their roles with words like pronouns. So Anthony Wall, I'm going to be your teacher somewhere in Connecticut, and my town. You're not going to leave it like this. Make sure they get on paper. I'll show you how to deal with aggression calmly, and I'll show you how when they prevent that, what to do, how to raise your voice properly with these punks. Get them on the paper. He doesn't want to even say sorry. Just get on paper if he disbelieves. If he wants to deny it, say I deny it. It's recorded. So what Police Chief Cintron and one or more years ago, is involved with the same house. Also with the extended families, one of the ones with the name Phil Cololo, Bob Chase with Whiting Forensics. Whiting Forensics, when I was a kid too, they had timed rules with overt criminal enterprises, private ones, people associated with Whiting Forensics and investigators who had collusions. That place had collusions. Now again, they forced the principal child abuser. These are people also on off the state judicial branch offices and on off the state corrections offices as roles with where and how to used remotely are names on both sides of criminal and civil cases. They're lawyers, the victims advocates, and the interbranch, forging and switching names, secrecy, all fake together as names that are timed roles with overt criminal enterprises, private ones. The Witness Protection Program, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, involved a whole bunch of people with a name and tied to the name Justin Stryker too, involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders. They put these people and they make them make up fake ties to other people, fake natures of ties to other people, fake motivations. Oh, I did it because of girl. I didn't even know them. I didn't even know them. They're trying to take a picture. You walk by them, And they try to, every exception. They go, oh, but we have your language on there. I warned you guys. So I got them on because they were. I caught them on. I could lie after, but in other words, I caught them. I used they reverted tactics that police can use on people, but people can't use on police. They make it so people can use on them because we're in how is you measured and maintained. Only people that are criminally foreign influence, they're going to hurt people who defend truth properly. They're being using truth for lies. So if you listen to the substance of the school board meetings, they have the post blocked and the different array, all different motivations for opinions regarding why it's blocked. They're all leaving out what came first, the value of what came first. On YouTube, they also have the roles with the name Cololo. Regardless of that, how do you know that was actually Ray Cololo who typed on your post? Even if it wasn't, they're one of the ones involved with the wire crimes, the Wethersfield police switching names. A whole bunch of people on Trinity College and Central Connecticut State University recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed. I never saw Ray Cololo on my middle school in my life. He was in my bus. I never had anything to do with him on the bus either. 2 houses over. I don't know if he lives there or somewhere else. Yeah, a guy who says he's his roommate. One of the ones involved at the spots next to the news locations. Involved attached media, fake ties, fake nature, ties to themselves and other people, including the news. At the same time, with the interbranch, putting fake transcripts, fake ties between kids and child offenders around their own kids. Or their own kids' roles with child offenders, leading the kids. That's how fake they've been since they were kids, child abused. You want me to treat them as victims, get them on paper. Get them on paper. We're going to do a calm. And if you want to go aggression, where will you start? Because I asked you calm, and you guys ignored me. You make up things in the background. Vaccines. These are family members involved with the policing of the schools. A whole bunch of people tied to a Luigi Guerrera involved with this. I never had a personal conversation with you. They may try to make a fake. It looked like I tied to him. One time I went with them. I had nothing to do with them. In other words, Luigi Guerrera and a Paul Zano planting evidences interstates. There's a Bryant University and there's a Johnson and Wales involved with a Ray Cololo and a Paul Zano involved with people tied to them, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed they were involved with predicate acts with them with the World Trade Center. And I don't even have to ask them because they're already involved with predicate acts. And the ones with the Keene name, I don't know Dan Keene. And in other words, I never had a class with Dan Keene when I was around him. And when I had a T-ball team, his father was my thing. In other words, I only had love for them. In other words, these are people, in other words, others are telling me and recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders against me, lying about their motivations for it too. Because they're planting evidences with the roles with all sides in criminal and civil cases, leading up to the World Trade Center attack in the court next to it, with the names on off the World Trade Center and the spots next to it. Involved increasingly, there was people with the name Spada involved with predicate acts on my street, and people involved with home break-ins, where the police forms have roles with it, and with the family that has roles. There were the Newington police families, Rocky Hill police families, involved with an O'Brien, Cololo, predicate acts on my street with facts, with wire crimes, and identity thefts and frauds. It has something to do with their roles with people with the north end of Hartford with police forms and different. This is my type of belief. Get there, get on paper, fake law. Pick one name in sequence. Get me a response and get the interbranch on from the name switching and sequence shifting, putting fake transcripts. Same time with the news. Get them on paper now. Get them on paper now. Fake branches, bow, and apologize to Judge Napolitano for uses of the Facebook. You have the KKK theme, Confederate flag theme, partially recorded, fully recorded other ways with the Facebook page of the principal child abuser. Fear God for using my name and hiding behind the motivations of your kids. Oh, but I was told this. That's why I get on paper. Follow mandated law and get that police chief far, far, far from this town. Boxig is found. Make sure his daughter too. Follow mandated law on time. They don't speak for calmness or aggression too. Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Anyone who's going to try to speak with other people told them, Get on paper now. Pick one name and sequence and get the ones from Hartford Hospital. Fake conversation made with this name Leahy, and the security there too, and the nurses like this guy Britt. Let's get them on paper. There was D. Simone, he brought up that name too. There are more names they brought up. They also pretend to be. Other people pretend to hold bad things, so everyone's bad. You guys brought it up. You fake conversations with me about you. In other words, they attach people to fake conversations about what things that happened to them. As people that have been doing this from other classrooms, lying about their motivations too. In other words, and they're pretending they're being. Of course, they're supposed to make the kids feel comfortable. Oh, but at the same time, we're trying to stress, get down. Maybe make sure they get on paper now. Fake brand ball. I never had a class with Joe DeMore in my life. Any DeMore, by the way. And the ones in Central Connecticut State University, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed. There are two twins with the name Carone, and there's the Jemmy Carone, who also confirmed on Facebook. He's involved with them with predicate acts leading up to the World Trade Center in that attack context. Wethersfield is a branch, and with Central Connecticut State University through time, they've had roles with the intelligence community, training them criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions wrong, incapable of defending their convictions and their syntax, and of affording to be, let alone to protract, short words properly with convictions for our founders, too, by the way, who wanted nothing to do with slavery. See the Constitution on a bridge, vaccines. See how they had to counter with the other founders. Here, there. Pick one name and sequence too. Follow mandated law. They have the people they have the difference between the interbranch criminally foreign influence, the foreign nations, because there's a hyper foreign involved here. There's a breaching method that came from some ancient times. More probable and more practical too. The religions together, modern religions, they're telling us to blame not a devil or a shaitan. More so, they're telling us to blame a hyper-archetypal criminal enterprise, one that has humanity using systems tactical ulterior from the one that teaches us what positive and negative is about. And there are 5 identities, distinct, of the same body of that is everything at once. The value of what is truth before the smallest finite detail conceived now as itself as what is actually identity of relativity to itself too, and the value of that. So even if everyone agrees, let alone self-value agree to blame, to lie about the past or believe other about the past. Even everyone believes other about the past, nature will show us a breaching method was against the Native Americans. So we could discern the breaching method is against, therefore, the human species body system that uses individual finite group differences and species body volume. So in other words, these are people that have tactical delusions too regarding the value of emotions of their own and of other people's. And there are behavior racketeering natures. There were also people with the name Harris involved with drugs and medicines crimes with the kids, other natures of organized crime with the kids, and with houses next and names next to the campuses. So fear God to do that and get the ones on paper saying sorry, man, and then because I wanted just the foreign bodies involved. You guys brought yourselves involved within the same house involved with it. It's true. Don't pretend it's personal because I told you, I put on the record too that I know that I recorded that on Facebook too before my neighbors moved in. The Wethersfield police and other police forms have been planting evidences and fake tests and things like that on all sides of my house. In other words, they're involved with recorded, discernible, used remotely, criminally foreign influence investigators. Now, the witness protection program is also involved with them with the corner of Fairlane Drive and Griswold Street with people that had used my name criminally for identity theft fraud furtherances, wherein how such was also roles with the names on all sides of criminal and civil cases, and the news at the same time with the interbranch of foreign bodies. In overt criminal enterprise, people with the name with the loss of needles recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, and other other countries' criminal enterprises, people involved with federal crimes and judges and criminal enterprises at the same time when I was a kid. I never had a class with them. And for example, in the middle school, then I had a Mr. Neville. They put me in a summer school class and lied about why I was in the summer school class. And they put my neighbor, one of the Cololos, or Ray Cololo, and he has a father with the same name, though. In other words, and I don't know. I think that might be in other words, his grandfather's name too, who might be from another family too. I mean, not Cololo. In other words, now associated. But I don't know which one that is, but there's a corners of streets they're involved with. Corner of Carriage Hill Drive and Fairlane Drive. I know Carriage Hill Drive and Fox Hill. A whole bunch of people had involved with uses of my name, criminally foreign influence, as roles with falsified police reports, identity theft, frauds, and slanders, and home break-ins, where the people committing the crimes are the ones criminally foreign influence with the judges and prosecutors, switching names, forging names, speaking fake things into the databases. Federal rules of evidence is crime. Federal evidence is crime. Like sequence shifts, like identity theft, fraud, speaking for law. Anyway, how they're getting away with it is how they're pretending to be caring for the kids' mental health and physical health, while they're fakes with those locations, criminally foreign influence. So a Leahy family is involved with people who are spying on your kids to use truth for lies. And to pretend they're attaching kids to their fake communications with everyone around themselves, including with their family members. And they're lying about the outcomes in legal cases. WFSB did. And they attached me to fake conversations with me and others that were in the World Trade Center attack. They attached me to fake conversations about that, attached others to changed conversations about that. And the difference of that is also exploited because the judges and prosecutors were caught and they know they have to hide things because their roles with predicate acts on the state judicial branch offices. And they have the various natures of courts, sickly, distinctly, criminally foreign influence, simultaneously, tactically, delusions, raw. So these are like the Judge Napolitano has a Judging Freedom YouTube channel, and you could do serious topics on there. Look at the Thanksgiving one, has a summary of it. In other words, there are wars going on. See, all along, these sides have collusions, even if they made up the whole thing regarding Trinity College has people involved with Palestine and with Israel and with Saudi Arabia and with Zion Street and with boxing gyms. Also has names on Zion Street next to Trinity College involved with predicate acts with names in Britain. That's Hartford, Connecticut, next to Central Connecticut State University. These are also people roles. One of the things that connects them with the people from the other parts of my town involved with the predicate acts of my street, with the houses involved, because then they make it look like kids. They're locking people. They assigned things like the integrity, the need for integrity of the branches to be read wrong. And this is relative to how they have these child abuse methods that are also campuses connected. And they're needing to put fake motivations where and how and while they're being used remotely, criminally foreign influence. So follow mandated law so you don't keep fakes speaking and you don't keep fake motivations, leaving out the importance of the roles of the criminal foreign influences and criminal enterprises, also unions. So a whole bunch of people at Trinity College have roles with mayors in their families and senators in their families. There's a Joseph Lieberman, and there was another one involved with his relative involved with a Mike DeMaine, involved with some interreligious nutbags and speaking fake things into records so it can't go back and be real. And where I said nothing because it would have been disrespectful to the little girl. So these are people that call attacks on themselves so they can pretend hate and etc. So there are narratives regarding. So there's people with Saudi Arabia These are people that forced Saudi Arabia to collusions with them, military that have been involved with drugs and medicines crimes, including with the Eastern States Narcotics Drug Task Force, and an officer that referred to himself as a Darth Vader at Trinity College, involved with a principal child offender and the sexual groups next to the campus there. Where there's also one of them involved with the probation officer, reportedly of Mike Oliver, which is he had roles of predicate acts against Mike Oliver and roles of the murder of a Greg Kyler, with people with court confessed, demonstrate, confirmed him involved with it. And a Dean Alford is one of the ones involved with a Joshua Stryker who pretended to know me since I was a kid behind my back, and with others who all recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, involved with the police departments with this Ray Collo and his family members and extended family members. They said they share. DeMoro and him said they share the affair with the name Scalora. I only know them from confessions, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, other than they could afford to discern, is actually what is recorded. They've been using the right to lie as a summary of the law, where that's not the law, because these are timed rules with overt criminal enterprises and private ones. They said it has something to do with their corners. What they communicate is other than what they say. So in other words, what they say, we need to get them on paper to one name and sequence and on time, because they're still planting evidence, fake motivations, roles also as collusions, the criminal foreign of the investigators. And don't think I don't have forgiveness and love for everyone. They're trying to make it look like I don't. These are people I never had classes with. And the exceptions are also recorded criminally foreign, used criminally foreign influence. They hid things they never should have hid that I recorded when I was a kid. And they're confessing things to me tied to it. You play punk games with the intelligence community. You have me knowing their names and they're knowing my name, like the people on the principal child abusers street. One of them. There are more principals and deans being brought in. We can't leave out the co-defendants, a former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and various natures of federal criminals with them, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, involved with predicate acts on Trinity College and CCSU, planting evidences, fake ties, fake nature of ties, uses of corn timing, and the class placements are criminally foreign influence because they're uses of communications between classrooms, between campuses, where and how they assign roles of predicate acts with facts against little kids to be used at other locations, not just those locations. Black pupils, fear God to not attend. I'll teach you here. So you have little cowards who have been in the background using my name and using your names. Fear God. Make sure you follow mandated law for Wethersfield campuses and the interbranch involved with them. And we're going to get through the foreign too, because there's a high-performing foreign hurting their people there too. They have people that are Russians involved with the fire departments and other countries, with these people, a whole bunch of different countries, criminally foreign influence. They couldn't speak for one country here or there, the fake difference. They have to value wars and things that start them, because they need that fake difference to speak for difference, which is taught by nature. So we have the same color eyes, we have different color eyes at the same time. There are exceptions. Black people, other teachers, education here. So I want to, this is worse than extortion. But the reason it's important to address it as torture, extortion, slavery, three ways manifest simultaneously is because of the fact human nature slavery, sickly distinctly against our founders, sickly distinctly against the other colonists, sickly distinctly against the other founders who are Native Americans, sickly distinctly against, to keep how sickly non-distinctly from being discerned by everyone or sensed. And if it's if it's sensed, don't think it can be sensed as an extent of counter to it. All natures of independence, all natures of unity. Before, why that? Because the simultaneous is being gotten over on. what is actually reality's course, vaccines, what is actually syntax proper for your nation, for yourself, and so forth. So, vaccines. They have been attaching kids and adults and their families to fake conversations about religion while tactically delusions raw because they have roles also with the World Trade Center attack, Hartford Hospital, with the military. Fake conversations with me about that too. Fear God. These are names next to it, leading up to it involved. The Morals Market. They have roles with Rocky Hill locations through time with the intelligence community, foreign and domestic, military, and their differences. This one's from Italy. This one's Pakistan. This one's Korea. All the same. They have roles with the intelligence community at Central Connecticut State University, training little fake identities of law to speak for law. Or the value of a job. Don't speak for value until black people have their answers true. Always. Fake branches. Don't speak for equity. You can't speak for law. We're going to speak for freedom. We're better than free. While they're waiting for the equity, because the words are going to bring it before it's here. So we're going to bring it even faster than that. In other words, the words are here. I want a response for the principal child offender's confessions. There was also a Mike Levine as one of the names, and there was a Robert Rodriguez as one of the names along Route 3. Increasingly with people, Michael Roberts is also one of the ones who've been planting evidences with the ones that know my name, I don't know them, and people that are black KKK themed, Confederate flag themed as collusions. And that, in other words, they're keeping blame to other things, others ourselves, things our founders told us to blame in the breaching method used remotely, little tool fake colors. Yeah. Make sure they got one name in sequence. I'll show you what to do with them. I'll show you how to deal with the KKK black theme. And they're not legitimate military, so fear God. These are the military. These are roles with different intermilitary. Has something to do with their roles along Ridge Road, too, and Walker Hill. And all along Route 175 and other conjunctions to it, like Ridge Road, Walker Hill, and Southstein Highway. Yeah. These are people on and off the original locations our founders left us to demonstrate we're involved with that plan they had to counter extort at 13 positions within more than 13 colonies, tactically tortured, extorted, and enslaved since before they were born, North and South America, before it was that America. Our founders were born, everyone was enslaved, fact, human nature. If you're going to pretend other, the law is against that. They're going to censor you through your own or grouped fake difference. Names A through Z used other than humanity's way. Many pray. So you guys have to understand there are people with the name Mendez too involved with the names that are intercultural and intracultural, criminally foreign influence, identity theft, fraud, slander. People with the name Lombardo also on Hartford Hospital involved drugs, medicines, crimes, fake transcripts of me. Fake motivations for it too, and people involved with child offenders, sexual and medical with the intelligence community, and other. Fear God, these are people next to the campuses too, planting evidences, fake ties, fake nature ties to people. Has something to do with their roles too, all along Church Street and corners on Church Street. Uses of my name. Fake exceptions some of them tried to make. As the people involved with this Joshua Julian, I had nothing to do with them. Him and others, in other words, I had to pretend they had a Ray Cololo and a Mark Violet by people involved with Hartford Hospital. They were influenced to repeat his name to me. And I only know them out of sequence, not when they pretended I knew them. And then I never even saw them because I was, I didn't even know who my neighbor who was in my grade hung around with when he was a freshman, etc. I had nothing to do with all exception nature other than they think. And we never spoke the way they tried to make it look like a dude like that. That's how their friends spoke. I would say dude sometimes because everyone used to say that. But in other words, they're playing syntax games. They fake transcripts, fake conversations with me and with other people when I caught them with the child offenders, leaders of the kids. as through time, as it recorded. Even if they made that up, you're sick for making it up. I don't care. You have sick readings of laws. That's one of the things our founders left us to demonstrate evidentially recorded. So we're going to get on name and paper now. Fake branches. Bow! Won't let them play foot, pretend that's the empathy, where they have the differences between the people countering each other too. It's not just the sexual groups, it's the people that pretend to be against them. These are people involved with overt criminal enterprises and unions too. Their UPS recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed. I went there and they did further. In other words, they have roles with the people with the name Oliveri, involved with former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and other agencies with FBI, and involved with Wethersfield police families, involved with predicate acts on and off the kids, on and off campuses, and on off the houses of the kids and all sides of them. You watch what's been manifest, where and how they've used all investigators, measured and maintained, incapable of defending their treatments of value, identity, therefore names, locations, including, because we are additionally identities as ground. Because how nature shows us answers. Here, make sure I don't have to keep begging you. Forget me off the fake conversations with you all and put it on paper and put your motives down too. When you can't pretend it from the background and get away with it. They have wire crime acts and methods with the phones distinctly. So these are not legitimate reasons and motivations when they're pretending, but it's because that's our advertisement. So we have to keep pleasant or they're not going to watch. Of course they're not going to watch. You're involved with the predicate acts against the people. Fix the news and get them a thing. If you guys want forgiveness, then follow mandatory law. Who disbelieves? Get them on paper now. Don't make me beg. Fake branches. Bob, I asked you every year from before the World Trade Center attack. I found out all the stuff they're leaking more and more because I caught them. The courts and the former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, his defending capacities, and increasingly to come, involved with predicate acts on my street, with names involved on off the campus I went, everyone, and time conscious uses of that. Get off my name, fake news, and don't pretend it's personal. Fear. Don't hide this from the other kids and parents. Get them on paper because some of their parents are intelligence community involved, time collusions with overt criminal enterprises, kids, and private ones at the same time, with their kids fake punks with other people's names. Now get them on paper now. Fake branches, bow. Don't pretend you're about the kids. Don't tell. And where you're gonna hide from things when it's like this. Don't be cowards. Get on paper now. Don't leave me using people's names and seeking you out. Get them on paper with the Emmett that's involved with the confessions, and worse, I recorded the principal child offender involved with Emmett and with the police chief Cintron and a Jessica Cintron and a Reno Mazzucato, and I don't know his sister's name, and others involved with them, seeing it with a sound view, some Connecticut beach through time, people involved with my name, criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw, people involved with this Mike Pandolf, and the ones at Trinity College who planted evidences with the unions and the overt criminal enterprises, fake exceptions at corner of a building, timing where I'm going to be, and then increasing uses of that. And next to the Wethersfield Park involved through time. Same ones involved with Newington Parks and Hartford Parks with the mayors, and then stories with the news. And that Hartford Park near Buckley High School is not far from Trinity, Hartford Hospital. Involved next to those other campuses there too, with medical offenders of kids, putting fake transcripts in databases, roles with. So they're not just the people when they are listening on conversations that are real, that are made. They're fake exceptions. They're locking the kids into these games where they can't go back and be honest about the past. Oh, because we know we had the right to lie. That's why there's laws against people lying about murders and things like that, and pretending to be police. So Wethersfield police have people that there's an officer, Jerry Miller, who's one of the ones on Facebook. There's one, they're intelligence community involved with Joshua Schumack, also at 3 spots at the end of the Burlington Turnpike, and people involved with them with identity theft, fraud, slanders, and KKK themed and interreligious nutbags, child offenders, identity theft, fraud, slanders roles, make fake exception, known people, intercedes through time. There's people involved with the fire departments, with the foreign and domestic. Get away from the nuclear. Get away from thought. Get away. Get them on paper now. Fake branch and bow. These are Russians against Russians, Americans against Americans too. You think you're going to speak for mental health? Get on paper. You tactically delusions raw fake punks too, and describe my behavior because you can't do it on paper because you attached me to fake behavior already. You did it to many people, many people. But I can only complain for myself. But I could use as evidence how you've been doing it against other people, and they're going to find out about this, like your kids are, like the kids of the Wethersfield schools. Fear God, because you have bad fucking. Excuse my language. You have bad people with badges and who are doctors who are putting and gavels, who have their family members time use of the criminally foreign influence uses of locations and all that. That if you're an adult, that wasn't our potential when we were kids. It was criminally foreign influence. There were people that had to consciously keep blamed on other things other than themselves. Why there are increasingly people, right? In other words, right where nature is demonstrating other causes. For example, like slavery. What caused slavery? The crazy method that was here and before our founders were born. Sickly distinctly north and south, but sickly non-distinctly. Suits and ties, see, counters. And, excuse me, exceptions as collusions that remains. Your trades. I play no game. It only feels like games, evolution, science. Gifts. Who disbelieves? Let's play a game. Don't be who's not a coward. Come on here and let's stay. Don't in other words. Who disbelieves? I want the name. I want the name of the person with the schools over the interbranch. Get them on paper now. And in the news, fix the fake conversations with me. And about the World Trade Center attack. Every year leading up to the World Trade Center, you have a Dean Judd also with his family members. I don't know. They said it was his family member. I didn't respond. They're involved with predicate acts, foreign and domestic military. They forced Saudis to collusion with them. Kuwaiti, and the differences too. That was also exploited because there's a hyper foreign body here there. And it uses how everyone's using systems tactical terrorism, the one that has this individual finite group difference /S in species volume, distinctly, non-distinctly, and and simultaneously /hyper simultaneously, which is important because we have been systems ignoring the one that answers our questions and with the pretended legitimate thought in its place. All pays who disbelieves. Follow mandate's course real fast. So whiting forensics also has judges and prosecutors and doctors and security and state police and their patients and criminals involved with them with predicate acts, also on Facebook, also with the principal child defender, and also with legal cases and through time with people involved with the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso and news use locations names at the same time use criminally foreign influence then again, which is also can be used as hyper evidential to observe things tied to the same house involved with it /S. In other words, you have all been hurt by people that have roles with all sides in criminal and in civil cases, the lawyers of both sides, the victims advocates, and the interbranch and switching names, switching sequence, roles with evidences, crimes, federal rules of evidences, crimes, and names of the hallways of the courts, all tied to the same house, roles and predicate acts with them, not legitimate motivations. People involved with sequence shifts with them since before they were there and where they used to live, and next to those locations, like next to the state corrections offices. Fear. See that name with them? Corrections, get them on paper. See them with the uses of words like empathy, fear God. Make sure they get on paper now. Fake branches, bow. They have people with the name Casper. There are people from Hartford Hospital also brought up with them. And people that Yagman family also recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, involved with drugs, medicines, crimes, with the houses next to the schools, with doctors, foreign and domestic, overt criminal enterprises. Get them out of the intelligence community and get them on paper now with this Leahy family too. Bow, fake branches, bow and fall. Build wall, who disbelieves. This is, in other words, but President Trump and President Obama and President Biden and the other presidents, they can't read their dreams. We have to read each other's dreams. I believe that's what the Navajo said. Many pray vaccines. And they're our founders. We shouldn't have to debate stuff. In other words, if someone's going to debate it, in other words, but on paper by now, obviously, some of American history, Native Americans were fighting with the Native Americans because the breaching method was taking away the quality of fact, human nature. That had the potential to be before then, and that was forced not to be during that. We're placing our words of our founders too in our face. They're making them communicate other than asked to communicate for themselves. They wanted nothing to do with slavery. They wanted us to use as evidence for ourselves with they would said they had roles with slavery and leaving out how they had to hide their roles with the revolution. Fear not to have the hyper evidential accepted as evidence here, or because how they get away with it. Their roles with identity theft, false claim, pretended fake integrity of behavior. There's the roles with a Mr. Emmett who has no class and who's a disgusting pig involved with child offenders, and he's using words like etiquette or what's the word? Not etiquette. Decorum. Watch his face on this meeting and this thing. Watch that guy, Emmett. Get him on paper with the rest of the people involved with drugs and guns, crimes and threats and poisons and drug with the kids. Fear God! Do not get me a response. I asked you many times and get me off the fake conversation with the World Trade Center simultaneously. No, the news and the interbranch. Get them on paper now. Wethersfield kids, don't be cowards. Tell your parents, don't be cowards. And tell them, don't play that game. The difference between adults and kids. Fear God. You use my name too. You don't know me. Don't repeat what other people say. What is this Charlie Bowes? What's his sister's name? What are they doing with Old Town Cafe? What are they doing speaking about the North End of Hartford on my street? Get off my name and get them on paper now. And don't pretend I don't love everyone around me. And I always did. Because when they're trying to make fake things, in other words, I'll show you how you keep victims self-value, because that's how you're being when you respect the titles, as you did in the background here. Fake branches. Wow. Plus they're putting fake transcripts. How they get away with it too simultaneously is how they're preventing from being demonstrated what they communicated. So get on Judging Freedom YouTube channel and get them and tell Judging. Well, why don't you answer Anthony Wall? You understand what switching names means. Get them or get the Connecticut interbranch on one name and sequence. You understand what principal child abuser means. Judge Napolitano. Why would you forbid him writing? Why would you let people lie about why he had to raise his voice? And then they have fake times too. They put me fake conversations, fake uses of aggression, and fake uses of non-aggression. Because they have fake punk cowards who need to pretend other, and who are the reason experts, the logic experts, tactically delusions raw. I'm going to delineate the delusions from the criminally foreign influence, fact-cheaping nature of your mental health experts. I'm not even a doctor. I'm going to delineate their family members' uses for sick things. Their roles with predicate acts with facts. Fear God, way worse than the crimes they're calling crimes and putting kids in jail for. Watch what I call. Watch where you're going to discern recorded. The Central Connecticut uses subjects and how it affects their subjects' treatment. In other words, let alone their predicate acts treatment. Because don't forget, black pupils. We're about predicate acts with facts, and we need reliefs. I'm not even a lawyer. I'm not a judge. We're going to delineate their delusions from their criminally foreign influence, fact-cheaping nature, quiet aspect of nature for taking too long. Vaccine is strong. YouTube and friends. They have you. In other words, you little rap guy and friends. They have a cartoon version of America. Therefore, they have people stacked in New York City the way the breaching method only allowed to unfold. Because I had designed the suburbs tactically denatured for torture, extortion, and slavery founders that we were supposed to address. How they got away with it is also hyper-evidential. Part of it is having people see, and like in this movie, they're going to see the word up, divide and conquer, or this class, someone's going to say divide and conquer. In other words, Native Americans had sustained against them the obligations and needs to syntactically argue with themselves and or not. and that's only allowed because there's a certain slavery method that was non-distinct from all the distinct ones that were sickly distinct because it knew that this breaching method knew the breaching method. In other words, what is slavery law? A breaching method. How come it has not been blamed on a breaching method when that's one of the things constantly it is about? Because it employed, it knew that nature was going to demonstrate. It's a bleaching method. We have to go. It's going to employ everyone blaming other things other than themselves, and rely upon that. Oh, but my director told me to talk about this murder. Then the people want this. They want me to switch over to the smile, or they want me to, you know what I'm saying? Get down. Get me off the fake conversation we all, because you have confessions about murders that are intercities connected with the people that made the connection. So you bring a whole bunch of subjects up at once, and they lie about how they could understand people. And in other words, they even put fake conversations, knowing consciously, knowing what they affected, because they have criminally foreign influence uses of investigators, all sides of my house, and through the people that they're hurting at the same time, since before they lived there. And then there's a pastor, in other words, who's one of the ones recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed. There are people that lived there before, too, and the house before that. And all of them had collusions with people. With 2 times I took, for example, a cooking class in high school. And there were placements in that class who had roles with predicate acts on my street, who had roles with predicate acts in the databases at the campuses. And how they get away with this and or keep what it causes and really is blamed on other things other than themselves, that is also recorded. But you guys have to follow mandated law when people ask you to report what's actually recorded. Now, follow mandated law because more untimely deaths rolls and uses of that. Some ways equivalent to worse than murder are things associated with this Mr. Emmett. Look at his face. He's going to use the word decorum. Fear! Get him on paper now. Now! And the FBI, too. Fear God to keep speaking through Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. Get on paper, too. And take me off with WFSB, the fake conversations about the World Trade Center, and the fake emails, and the digital crime rolls you have with the male and female judges with WTNH, too. Fear, fear, fear. And get off the spots next to WTNH with the ones involved.